Happy Saturday, one and all. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday or whatever day that you are in right now today. Of course, I'm coming from Eastern Standard Time, so it is Saturday here, and we are talking about music love story. As you guys know, I'm RK, your host, and I love talking about story. I'm your play sister as well, and I already put out a virtual flyer letting you guys know ahead of time that today we would be talking about music. So I hope you guys come ready and prepared to hear this, and I hope I'm ready and prepared as well. So guys, sit back, relax, have your drink, tea, coffee, soda, whatever, water, and we are going to talk about this amazing concept of music. You guys like my cup? Yes, this was a birthday present to me. Thank you so much. Seasons of Bryn. I love this cup. It is definitely a cup of hydration, refueling, and just re-energizing, right? Hi, Pam's Play Pals. How are you doing? I hope you have an amazing day today. So like I said, we're talking about music today. On the flyer, what you guys would have seen is this right here, right? And on this side, right, it's almost like a thesis statement. For any of us who are in school, had to write out those thesis statements. This is just letting you know the topics that we're going to cover, more so for myself so I can stay on point with our conversation. So some of the things that we are going to cover today, and if we don't happen to hit all these points, we'll just make a part 2, all right? We're going to talk about character expression for nonverbal characters. Second point, builds connection and rapport with audience. Music, third point, intensifies the moment. Fourth point, love sizzles and tingles when you have music, right? Fifth point, story gains substance. We want substance in our stories, right? And our sixth point that we're going to cover either today or in a part 2, new music selection, more options. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. I was so greatly blessed actually yesterday with an article that delves into this topic of music. Now, the sad portion of it is that it delved into the topic of music, but it correlated with the passing of a really, giant musical great icon in the music industry. So I was definitely sad to hear about that. It comes from the website insidethemagic.net. And for some of you, you may already know that Mark James, who is a songwriter, he co-wrote songs with Elvis Presley and a lot of the other greats of the 70s and 80s, but he was also the producer and just the one who organized all the music for the let me make sure I get it right, Guardians of the Galaxy. So any of us who are fans of that particular Marvel franchise, Guardians of the Galaxy, we probably also really did enjoy the music. We were vibing with the music, and it's because of the gentleman Mark James. So I'm just going to read you know him? Wow! That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, you know him. So yeah, he's a musical giant, did the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy, and in many ways caused many of us to even fall in love with that particular franchise because we were vibing with the music as well as the storyline. And I feel like it's intermingled so much, it's really hard to separate the story from the music. Hi, Elverts, Ellie Verstown. Thank you so much for joining. So I'm going to read a very small excerpt from this article to share with this particular topic. All films were praised for their humor, visuals, and the endearing bond between the core team members of the galaxy of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Music plays a vital role in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. As we know, Star-Lord's trusty Walkman filled with classic rock and pop hits from the 70s and 80s becomes a reoccurring motif and a source of connection of the characters. The soundtracks, which features iconic sounds like Hooked on a Feeling and Mr. Blue Sky, are a vital part of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. The music not only underscores the action and emotional beats of the films, but also reflects Star-Lord's personality and acts as this bridge between him and the other Guardians. It becomes a shared language. I love that. A shared language, a reminder of his earthly past and a symbol of the unconventional family they have become. The Guardians of the Galaxy are more than just a team of action heroes. They represent the power of chosen family, of finding connection in the most unexpected places. Their adventures remind us that even the most unlikely heroes can rise to the occasion, and that a little bit of heart and a killer soundtrack can go a long way in saving the galaxy. As we noted, music is one of the key elements of Guardians of the Galaxy. Not only is music used to propel the story forward, I love that, but it gives the film a life and energy that other Marvel films just cannot attain. And that is why the recent passing of Mark James is hitting so many fans so hard. Mark James, a songwriter and Hall of Fame member who co-wrote the songs Suspicious Minds, Always on My Mind, Hooked on a Feeling, he passed away June 8th in his home in Nashville. And many of the Elvis Presley fans are also sharing their condolences online. You can always check that out on elvisdaybyday.com. He was 83 years old when he passed away. And I'm just going through this quickly because I want to get a good orientation of where this fits in with the topic today. The seemingly incongruous pairing of somber visuals and lively music is the first hint of the film's unique blend of humor and action. Peter, fueled by the music, charges out of the hospital. Any of us who saw the movie, we can recall him leaving the hospital when his mother is asking him to hold her hand. So he charges out of the hospital and towards a spaceship with a newfound determination. The upbeat tempo becomes the soundtrack to his escape, symbolizing his resilience and perhaps even a hint of defiance. The choice of Hooked on a Feeling is more than just a catchy tune. It becomes a reoccurring motif throughout the film, reflecting Star-Lord's personality and his love for classic music from the 70s and 80s. It's a reminder of his earthly past and a constant companion on his adventures. This scene establishes the quirky tone of the Guardians of the Galaxy and highlights the importance of music to Star-Lord and the film as a whole. And of course, I got this information from InsideTheMagic.net. You can always go there to find out more about that article, as well as the passing of Mark James. And let's see here, Ellie_Town said the soundtrack of The Guardian is one of the best from the MCU, and I do agree. Pam's Play Pal said, girl, awesome mix 1 and 2 are both my jams. Favorite Marvel movies. Ellie_Town said, now that I think of it, Black Panther and Gigi are the only that have a real soundtrack. I do agree. Thank you so much for joining. Coach Play, that is my husband, spelled with an I and not a Y. Jane82 Vickas, thank you so much for joining as well. So I want us to be able to reflect on this particular article as we talk about music, because one of the beautiful things that we have at our disposal when we post our reels or we make any post of our photos, that we also have the option to attach music. So for so many people who are posting themselves or other friends who are humans, they have the beautiful option of being able to make facial expressions and hand gestures and things that for us in our doll community, we really don't do. We have the option to be able to use face apps and different apps that allow us to make distinctions with our dolls' faces for smiles and so forth. And yes, we can do things with their poses, but we really don't get the choice to be able to move the fingers in certain ways that we do as humans, right? But we have at our disposal music. So I really want us to be able to focus on how we can use music to our advantage when we're posting our reels and when we're posting our photos of our dolls. So if you're not a doll collector, this one may not be for you. But if you do anything with dolls, if you do anything with cars or anything with toy photography, this is for you. Or if you're just curious, stay online with me, okay? So our first one that we want to talk about is that character expression for nonverbal characters are enhanced when we add music. In my own stories, I have had such a beautiful experience of being able to add music in that has words that can really verbalize the expression of what my characters feel in that moment. I had a moment with a character named Reggie in which he was saying that he wanted to do some changes and make a life decision, and I used a song by Lenny Kravitz, and I used the words in that song so that it could express, so the song itself could express what that character could not verbally speak, as well as to express what I didn't really have time to type in the caption. And what I found was that so many different people in my audience were able to resonate with what that character was feeling because the music was relatable. I have been asked on different occasions, how do you select music for your stories, for your reels, for your photos? And one of the things that I do is that I go into the mindset of what my character is feeling right then. What music really does speak to me in that moment to be able to speak the words for my characters. I oftentimes try to choose music that may be more instrumental or jazz related, and I'll tell you why. Come close, because this is a secret. One of the things that I find to be so interesting about us as humans is that we were incubated in the mother's womb, right? And when a baby's in the mother's womb, what does a baby hear? Heartbeat, but not just the heartbeat. Baby's hearing the intestines and the lungs and the kidneys and spleen, all these different organs on the inside of us. And cells, I imagine, make their own sound, right? Blood flowing through the veins. So it's all this constant music going on all around a growing baby. And so we naturally are attuned to the sound of rhythm, to drum beats, to beats in itself. And it doesn't have to have words to it. It just has to make a sound, right? So I oftentimes will try to use instrumentals because I feel that innately we are just driven and connected to the sounds of instruments. That's one of my top secrets. I also find that in using instrumentals, people don't get distracted by the words, unless, of course, I need those words to express the emotion of my character. So I have to make those strategic decisions. Does this song with the words express the words and the emotions and heart of my character? Then I keep it. If, in fact, I feel that the music's kind of a distraction, it may end up causing some type of subterfuge in our community, such as maybe some people like that type of music, some people don't, then I make the decision just to go with instrumental. That way, if someone says, well, I'm not really into country music and I really don't want to hear it, but if they hear the instrumental and they don't really hear the words on it, they're more inclined to actually read the message, read the caption, and go through the photos or watch the reel. So that's just something that you have to be able to make a decision on yourself. Do I use the instrumental or do I use the words in the song to express the heartbeat of my character? So I love that we have music as an option. I encourage anyone, use it. And if in fact, a song speaks to you and it has words in it and you're kind of unsure if people will like it or not, use it anyways, all right? Because you never do know who, in fact, is going to be inclined to listen to it. It may be something new to somebody that they go, I'd never heard that before. And they want to listen to it more, maybe even in their own spare time. They'll stream it. It's crazy because a long time ago, we were like, they'll go out and go get the cassette. They'll go out and go get the CD. Now it's like, you'll stream it, right? All right, so that's our first point. Character expression for nonverbal characters are able to be enhanced through the use of music. Second bullet point, it builds connection and rapport with your audience. Like I stated in that first point, your audience feels a stronger connection to your characters. They feel a stronger connection, not just to the characters, but also to the story. So if in fact you have a busy life like I do, and you're not able to post constantly, guess what? Your audience is still there waiting for you. Why? Because they feel connected to the story. They have to find out what's going to happen next if you happen to have a drama. But if you don't have a drama, it's not like a soap opera kind of storyline. You have like one of those really good feeling, positive energy kind of storylines. Guess what? Your audience is still there waiting to find out what happens next. The music has connected them to the story just as much as the story has connected them to the music. So always remember that you are able to build a rapport with your audience through the use of music, you are able to build a bridge, a connection, just like we got done just talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. And there was so many different positive comments about Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as the writer and producer of the music. The reason why is because we feel a personal connection to that story. And it has a lot to do not just with the storyline, not just the way that the characters were developed and layered, although they did an excellent job with that, but also the music. The music connected us to that film and to that franchise. Always remember that when it comes to your own storyline. How is it that I can keep my audience involved with this story? And oftentimes it's music. Just think about different points of your own life. Times when you were sad, times when you were going through different upheavals in life and you had to overcome those things, times of a breakup, times when you got the job, times when you got accepted into the college or university you wanted to go into, times when you found out that you were expanding your family or that a friend of yours was going to expand their family, times when you found out that maybe someone very close to you, a loved one, may have passed. What pushed you through those times? And so many times, maybe not immediately, maybe not on the very first day of the grief or of the joy, we listen to music, but somewhere in that period or era of time, we turned on our music and we listened to it to help get us through those rough times or those joyful times. So music became a personal soundtrack for us. Don't neglect that in your own stories. Your characters need a soundtrack as well. That is what's going to help your audience connect to what you're taking pictures of and that you're posting and that you're making reels of. Build them a storyline. Build them a soundtrack. Third point, it intensifies the moment. How many of us loves horror movies? I was a huge horror movie buff back in the day. Loved me some scary movies. I'll give you guys a real quick story. It's so quick. I watched the movie The Ring. I don't even like talking about it. I gotta look around. I was one of those people that watched The Ring, came home, and actually had an unmarked VHS. I'm dating myself, and I don't mind. I'm proud of my age. But I had an unmarked VHS. I was like, oh my God, don't watch it. And I can't remember what was on that VHS, honestly, but I refused to put it in. But I got so spooked, okay? The house that I stayed in at the time, where my bed was positioned, the TV was directly in front of me, like how my phone is directly in front of me right now. And I loved it that way because I could come in, sit on my day bed, watch TV, lay down, go to sleep, whatever I was doing. On this particular day, after watching The Ring, I literally took that TV and turned it all the way around. I was like, she's not coming out of my screen and getting me. Like, literally. And this didn't just go on for one day. Like, I want to say it almost happened for like 2 weeks. Yes, The Ring is too scary. I totally agree with you. I will not watch it. I pray and hope my kids don't watch it. It was a psychological thriller. And that wasn't the only movie that did it to me, but The Ring really, really screwed my head up. And so, but what made it so scary? The music. You already have this girl coming out with like her hair over her face and creeping. But then you had the music that went with it and you're like, oh my God, she's coming, right? I'll tell you another movie that did it to me. It was like that Puss in Boots Last Wish. Oh my goodness. There's this character. He's like the character of death and he has this whistle. The whistle is so freaking scary because you're like, oh no, here he comes, Puss, run, right? And it connects you with the story because it's not just Puss in the screen anymore that's going through it. You're going through it with them. Remember that when it comes to your own storyline. It doesn't have to be a horror storyline or something scary, but just remember that just like we get connected to these horror films and to even romantic films, right? I love a chick flick, especially now being married. I'm a chick flick person. At first I wasn't. I was pretty hardcore, okay? I was like PlayStation and basketball, that kind of stuff, like a semi-tomboy in a way. And then, my husband came in my life and just like estrogens just started overflowing. Like my cup overflowed with estrogens. And now I watch chick flicks. I do. I do. So I'm all into like the rom-com and all this stuff, right? But what helps me stay connected to it is the quirky music soundtracks in the back, right? And then, you know, when the music's just like, and usually, you know, Hallmark and all them, they really take advantage. They take full advantage of their soundtrack, and they'll have the couple at a hoedown or at a party, or, you know, they meet at this spot where there just happens to be someone on the stage with a guitar singing, "I can't help falling in love with you," like the Elvis Presley one, right? And so they take advantage of it because unknowingly you're drawn into this song, and it doesn't even seem weird to you because they're at an event, right? They're at this fair where there's a singer on the stage, so it makes sense that the singer with the guitar is singing this song, and you don't even think about the factor being that they have used it to their advantage. They have used that music at their advantage to draw you in, and you're so drawn in that you're going to watch the whole movie. You know what's going to happen, especially when we talk about rom-coms and, you know, Hallmark movies. You know they're going to end up together, but you still watch it. And you still end up listening to the soundtrack unknowingly, unbeknownst to you, and it's drawing you right in. Use the music to your advantage to draw them in, because it intensifies the moment and it keeps your audience a part of your story. Okay, number 4, love Sizzles and Tingles. Now, I know a lot of you guys watch Bridgerton. I will admit to you, I am not in the Bridgerton loop just yet. It doesn't mean that I won't watch it, but I have young children, y'all. I have very young children. I have 3. Like, our youngest he just turned 3. Our oldest is 15. We have stair steps. We have 10 children. And quite honestly, me really thinking in my mind that I would get a moment alone to watch the Bridgerton movie or show series, or, you know, like these episodes which are laden with sexual intensity and and sexual scenes. That's not gonna happen, all right? It's just not unless I choose to watch it on my tablet or something like that, and I just really don't always have the time to actually commit to a series. That's why whenever I do watch TV, I try my best to watch a movie so that I can watch this hour and 45 movie over the span of maybe 6 or 7 hours, because we're constantly, my husband and I are constantly like, pause, and somebody asks a question, or somebody has a complaint, or somebody needs something, or someone wants to show us this awesome invention that they did, or this really hilarious joke, and then after they, you know, go back and do what they're doing, then we push play. So literally I'm catching up on stuff from like maybe 2010. Yeah, so eventually we will watch Bridgerton. It may be the year 2030, 2045, but we will see it. But one of the reasons why I believe so many people are connected to Bridgerton, and I haven't seen it, but I can imagine, because I've seen a lot of other shows and movies, is the love music in the back, right? There's some music in the background, soft and gentle and spicy and succulent, and it just draws you in and makes you want to see what happens next, right? It intensifies the sizzle, right? And then the love scene just draws us in even more. And for many of us, we're like, I would never ever watch a porn or anything like that. I've never done it, or I used to watch it, I don't watch it now. Here we are in front of the screen watching Bridgerton because the music has really just sucked us right in. Could have probably used a better choice of words, but nonetheless, it's drawing you straight into that film. And that's because music has this way of just drawing out such a sensual side of us that makes us want to watch it and see what happens next. And there's a reason for that. It's called frequency. Literally, frequency. A lot of times, writer, or I should say your producers of music, will purposely use certain frequencies to elicit a certain vibe from their audience, especially if they want you to continue to listen to that song all the way to the end and then repeat. We call that an earworm. Literally, an earworm, because it's like a worm that goes into your ears and just keeps traveling. Have you ever read different people's posts, especially in our social media, and they'll say, that song lives in my head rent-free? Is the reason. Frequency. The frequency was used in such a way to really cause you to hear the song on repeat in your head continuously, to the point where you're going to stream it, you're going to listen to it again, you're going to keep that song going, you're going to post it, you're going to do this and that. And of course, that makes the music company plenty, or I should say that label, plenty of money. But that's their goal. They want that frequency to connect with you. When we have these music, or I should say the songs in the background for a love scene, we purposely are using those songs, be it from the 70s, the 80s, the 1800s, whatever the era is. We're using those particular songs to elicit a feeling of love from our audience. We want them to connect with the characters. We want them to feel the vibrations of what love is like, so that they themselves want to watch more. They want to tap on your account and see what else happens with your characters. If you have a story, if you're posting photos of your dolls wearing different styles, guess what? They want to tap on your account again, not just in order to see what your dolls are wearing, but they also want to tap on there because of the song choice that you have. Don't neglect music. All right, we are on number 5. We may be able to get this all in one video, one vlog, instead of having to have a part 2. So let's get to part 5. Story gains substance. Substance. Can you imagine a wedding that didn't have music at all? Like, literally. We had music. We had Etta James. In fact, I walked down the aisle on the song At Last. And then we had Miles Davis played and stuff after the wedding. It's beautiful. I love it. I love it. All right. Only reason why I said this, because what would have happened if we didn't have Etta James? What would have happened if we hadn't had all the soft music in the very beginning as people were sitting down? Would they have known their cues? Would anyone have known their cues? I kind of doubt it. I think they would have just been kind of wandering around aimlessly and maybe still talking and getting to know each other. And I'm friends with the bride, and I'm a sibling, or I'm a cousin of the groom, and they would have just been chatting, and no one would have known, like, this is your cue to sit down because the wedding's getting started. In fact, we probably would have had to have had the minister or somebody say, oh, sit down, everybody, right? And then even once everyone sat down, how would they know that it's the entrance of the bride? How would I know that it's my entrance? I would have just been walking down the aisle without any beat or any rhythm, just going to my soon-to-be husband. Which I'm not against it at all. If someone chose to have a more quiet wedding, I think that's awesome. That's wonderful. But for me, I love music. I love the cues of music. I love how it's able to just jumpstart you to where you need to be at and propel you to where you need to go. So when it comes to the wedding scene that I just gave a very quick visual illustration of, one of the things that I found was that once when the Etta James song went forward, it told me I need to go down the aisle, right? And it didn't just tell me that this was my time to go down the aisle, but it also let everyone around me know, and everyone that was, seated in the pews waiting for this wedding to take place, they knew, oh, here she comes, right? So they knew, let's look at the door because she's on her way, right? The music signaled that. The music let them know that the bride has entered and that the wedding has now begun. Now, I'm not, of course, one of those people that feel that the bride makes up the whole wedding. If that was the case, I would have just married myself. This is definitely a two become one kind of thing, okay? That for me, everyone else is a little different. I know that there's some women that are more keen to the bridezilla notion, and I have nothing against that. If you feel that it is all about the bride and it's her big day, go on. But for me, it was my husband and I's big day, and the start of not just the wedding, but the marriage, right? That's a whole nother subject. Let me stay focused and not digress. Substance. music gives substance. In that very moment when Etta James played and it was at last, it gave substance to what was to take place. It gave substance to our marriage. Literally, to this day, I look at my husband and I'm like, at last, my love has come along. Like, he is, in fact, the poetry of that music song, right? Of the words, the lyrics of that song. That song gave substance to what we have. And God bless Etta James. And I know that she was a hoot in real life. And I don't know her personally, but I read so many different articles about her. And just, I was so enamored by her life. I know she had a lot of different struggles. But had she not created that song, I don't know what song we would have gotten married to, because there was nothing else that really did personify my heart towards my husband and vice versa. Literally, it gave substance to what we have. And the music that you choose for your story, for your reels, for your posts, it should give substance to your characters. It should give substance to the captions that you write. Substance, meaning that when someone sees your character, when they think of your story, they think of the song that was with it. And they go, it makes so much sense. It literally gave it a feeling. And it, when we think of substance is something that's tangible. So it's literally taking words that are not always tangible. You can't really, like I'm speaking to you right now, can I actually hold these words in my hand? It's not tangible, right? But when we talk about music, the feeling and the vibration of it, because of the frequency that's, delivered from it, it gives it something tangible. Because the feelings, the emotions in us becomes tangible. And I hope that you're able to remember that as you attach music to your posts and to your reels, because it has meaning to the audience members. And now for our last point, number 6. New music selection, new options. So one of the things that I love about this era of music that we are in is that we have the option to so much music. My husband and I know I talk about my husband a lot, but he's my best friend and I love him dearly. But one of the things that connected us, just honestly, was music. From the very beginning, it was music. And I'm so very glad to be able to share that experience with someone. We don't just listen to one genre of music. We listen to all types of genre music. I'm talking about punk, rock, pop, R&B, rap, Christian rap, gospel, Christian music, oh my gosh, country rock, country pop. I mean, just like anything. We love it. We love some Led Zeppelin, just like we love us some Dolly Parton. I mean, come on. We love music. And our kids are growing up in an environment where they're listening to jazz. They're listening to 70s, 80s disco. I mean, just Motown. They love it. And I love that they have all these different options with music. And I really do feel for certain individuals in this more modern era that are kind of limited to only listening to what's trending and what's popping on TikTok, and that's it. Because you lose out on the soul of music, right? I feel like you get a better grasp of music as a whole when you can interblend some music from one genre to the next and really listen to all the different beats and how they did it here and what they did here and really make it your own. And then you get this vibe that is just so unique and so special. I encourage you to not limit yourself. We're all so multiversed. Whatever music that you enjoy, post it, attach it. Like here I am as this, I don't know if I'm middle age or not, but whatever age that I am, I don't know what spectrum this is. I'm a millennial, so I don't really know, am I middle age? Nonetheless, here I am at my age, right? As a Black female in the United States saying, I'm listening to punk and rock And I love me some country, when oftentimes the stereotype is that I would just be listening to rap and that's it. But not the case at all. We listen to 116, we listen to KB, we listen to Andy Mineo, we listen to Lecrae. Like I said earlier, we listen to some Miles Davis, we listen to Monk, we listen to Four Tops, we listen to, oh my gosh, Diana Ross. I grew up listening to the Supremes, and I loved me some James Brown. Love me some Rick James. I mean, we love music. We love music. And that's just the bottom line. So why do I say this? Because I'm saying don't limit yourself. And please don't think that because you're a certain race or a certain gender, or you come from a certain location, that you have to only use the music that people think that you should. Like, I'm black, so I have to put Cardi B on here. And I'm not calling her out at all, you know, like I've listened to some of her tracks as well. But what I'm getting at, I don't have to just listen to that. And I don't just have to post that kind of music. I love yacht rock music. I love soft rock music. I literally grew up listening to Toto with Africa and all these other different tracks that they have. Oh my gosh, like, let's not even get me into the 70s and 80s soft rock. Like, that is my jam. So I'm able to have my characters who all have different backgrounds in my mind. I'm able to allow them to explore those music choices. So instead of me just being like, well, they all have to listen to gospel music and that's all I'm going to put on there, I post different songs according to the personalities of my dolls, according to the personalities of the characters. And I have nothing wrong. I don't want anyone to come back from this conversation and feel like I am digging on you and that I'm saying like if you just only post Christian music on there, then that's a problem. That's not a problem at all. I want you to rock your story the way that feels comfortable for you, the way that you want to explore it. But I am encouraging you to explore it. Explore it. Be multiverse. Allow your characters to be multiverse. My characters all have different personalities. You can probably see them right here. They all have different personalities. They all have different backgrounds. And I love being able to fuse who I am into the characters that are in my storyline. I love fusing the people that I've met on this journey thus far in my life into the characters that are in my storyline. And I'm telling you, music has been the perfect vehicle for being able to drive my characters home for so many of my audience members. So I hope and pray that this conversation has been educational, that it's been fun, that you guys have been able to take from this, that you need to continue to post that music. And if anything, I want you guys to see and know that music is a character. That just as much as your dolls are a character in your story, so is music. Don't neglect it. Use it to your advantage and have fun with it. So guys, thank you so much for joining Adult Play Therapy, where we are talking about storyline development and character development. And you guys have an awesome and amazing weekend. Thank you for being with me. Also, I want to thank you guys for rocking with me during the birthday weekend. Your posts were amazing. If I have not put your post in my story, it's probably because our social media system is not allowing me to post it. And I'm not going to speak against it. I'm just going to try again. But if I'm not able to post it, please do not take that in a bad way, because I totally appreciate you guys. And I want to say also that you guys giving me these beautiful birthday messages meant so much to me. It meant so much to me, especially having the weekend that we did have. It wasn't just the weekend because it went on throughout the week. You know, having our power shut off and then getting through that throughout the nights, and then having the electricians come over one day, then another day, and then our HVAC and Wi-Fi system turned off, and it was really crazy. It was very, very crazy. But having you guys as my community, as my family, reaching out and showing your support and giving me your words of encouragement and giving me your prayers. It was received, it was felt, and I appreciate you guys more than what my words could really ever say. And I do hope that you feel the vibration of my heart on this when I say thank you. And I love you guys. And until next time, we'll be back. Have a good one.